Hey, what's up, everyone?
Hey everyone.
It's been a while since we posted, but we have a special guest on this show, and we can't wait for you guys to meet her. So let's dive straight into it.
Hi everyone.
Hey, what's up, Bianca?
What's up, Bianca?
It's so great to hear you guys. I know it's been kind of a crazy few weeks, but I'm so excited to be here and just to fellowship with you all.
Yeah, thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me, guys. It's a pleasure.
For sure. So, Bianca, tell us a little about yourself.
Oh, I'd love to. So I went to Cal Baptist for my undergrad, and I went there for kind of I kind of went in blindly. I didn't know what I wanted to do at first. I've always loved music. It's been kind of something that I just grew to love over the years. And so going into CBU, I was kind of clueless. But with some direction from the Lord and people around me, I ended up, falling in love with the career that I'm working in now, which is speech therapy. And so kind of leading into what I do, at the moment, I am a SLPA, which is kind of an acronym for Speech Language Pathologist Assistant. And so I got my undergrad at CBU with that, and it's been a blast. I've been working with kids with under different populations such as autism, Down syndrome, just kids with some speech, like sound errors that are easy to fix, over time.
Right.
Just other things that kind of come in that you don't expect, and it's just eye-opening to see how God made them all, and you just get to help, assist them in the way that I can.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And I don't even know. I'm so beyond grateful for what the Lord has been able to do and what He's brought to my life, and so. But yeah, that's kind of a career in a nutshell. A minute spiel, yeah. But hobbies that I'm into currently, I love going to coffee shops and drinking coffee. That's kind of if you hadn't known that, and now you do.
Hey, coffee's good. Coffee's good.
Yeah, we love coffee.
We love coffee.
Dude, yes. As of right now during this quarantine, I've been making my own coffee more, and I've been
Sweet.
I
Nice.
think I've been helping those small businesses, dudes.
Oh yeah.
They have someone to thank. No, I'm just kidding. But when I'm not in quarantine, I love to go coffee shop, hop around and try new coffees. I have a list currently in my room.
Oh, wow.
15 places I've yet to try. So
Dang.
That's pretty neat.
My friends, if you know any places, let me know.
Dutch Bros Coffee, yeah?
Yes, Dutch Bros. And all the other ones.
Yeah.
But I love to do that. It's kind of and it kind of leads into my second hobby. I love to write poetry, and so I love to drink coffee. Have that atmosphere of it being all hipster or whatever, and just drinking coffee, having ideas. I love to write, and it's been something I've been doing for a while too. I used to love writing stories when I was little, and then that kind of encouraged me to just kind of write on the side for musical aspects, and then eventually in high school, I really got into poetry because of just certain circumstances I was put into with relationships and friendships. And I know that kind of sounds a little cliche,
No.
Roses are red, violets are blue. This person stinks, But it just kind of allowed me to express what I had in my heart at that time, specifically. And I just, I would read poetry books. I kind of started collecting just the thoughts that other people had about life, and it just really. I was trying to look at it at a non-Christian perspective to see how people cope without the Lord, right?
Right.
And it's kind of fun because you get to see, not fun, and what I mean that is it's interesting to see how
a different
people
perspective.
are. Yeah.
Right.
And so when I love to write, and I kind of do both, just kind of my personal feelings, things that I just feel at the moment, and then writings about the Lord and how He's kind of got me through. So that's kind of, my what I do, my poetry, and so that's kind of my big hobby. And then playing music, I love to sing, play guitar. The things that that the Lord has allowed me to use at church. So that's been really great.
Yeah.
As well. And so that's kind of my background. I guess I would say, trying to think. And other hobbies, I do like to go I can't say thrift store shopping.
Okay, yeah.
My mouth was trying to say there. But I love going to like vintage stores and just kind of. I feel like my mom would always be like, "You're such an old soul." I don't know. I'm like, "Okay, mom, thanks," but but I do really enjoy like seeing things that people used in the past and then trying to like incorporate it in my room. So that's kind of what I'm doing right now too.
That's rad.
Yeah.
Cleaning out my room and then putting things hopefully when I can and just add more knickknacks here and there. So yeah, that's kind of me though.
Yeah.
Sick. Now for your undergrad, and now you want to go into graduate school to become a speech pathologist. What led you to this career, or this major?
Great question. I think it was just what really brought me to this career choice is my family.
Mm.
Oh, that's awesome.
My ringtone.
Oh.
But yes, let me come back to this. But yeah, when I was young, I had a grandfather who I just loved immensely, and he just was a big portion of my life. And so my mom, her family. So this grandpa that I'm speaking of is my mom's dad, and he and his wife, they came over from Cuba, and kind of just started their new life in California. And so he would always tell me stories about his adventures and what he did, and I was just so blown away by the culture that I was grateful to be a part of. And so when he started having health issues around like when I was 2, and it started to like get worse as I got older. So when I was around 9, he was really in a state of just bad health. He had Alzheimer's disease, and he just stopped telling his stories. He stopped telling how much he loved us. He just kind of forgot everything, and it just, as a 9-year-old, you don't understand a lot of what life is bringing to you at that time. And I just remember missing him because it was no longer him that we would see anymore. It was just kind of a shell. And that you sometimes wonder, Lord, why do you go through these things where we experience pain? And but it kind of molded where I ended up, because with my grandfather having Alzheimer's and later passing away when I was a senior in high school, that was when I started worrying, because they were saying, oh, you need to find a job, you need to find a school, a career. And my school guidance counselor was very adamant about that. And I remember just thinking, I don't even know if I wanted to go to college, but I didn't know what to do. I loved music, but all the doors that I had tried to go through for music were closing, and I just felt like the Lord wasn't leading me there, and I was confused, I was like, Lord, I love music. This is my passion. What's going on? And it was also around the same time my great-grandmother, who was my grandpa's mom, she started getting ill as well. And so we ended up putting her in a nursing home, because she couldn't swallow anymore. And that is, my friends, is where I met a speech pathologist. And and so I started talking with her and kind of asking her questions, and she was kind of guiding me with like, oh yeah, I use this tool for this thing. it was more of a hospital setting, and so
Mm.
the speech pathologists in the hospital are a little different than those that work in schools. But I was yet to learn about that. So at the time, I was just so interested. I was like, oh my gosh, you know. And I remember in my first day in senior year, I was like, I'm never being a nurse. I'm never doing anything that has to do with the medical field. And when I started talking with the speech pathologist, I was like, dang it, I should have taken anatomy.
Oh.
I know.
Yeah.
I really kind of messed myself up there, but the Lord was so good. He had brought people along as well. Like, it was funny. I would be with my brother and, you know, trying to pick him up from school, and one of his friends' moms would be like, hey, you know, the typical, what are you going to do with your life question? And as we're talking, she would mention, like, oh, have you thought about speech pathology?
Mm.
And you know, my head would turn as if, like, she had just looked into, like, my mind. Because I'd be like, oh, what? It's so coincidental, you know? But it's not. It was just the Lord kind of placing these people who knew about the career. Because I didn't. I had never, my parents didn't know about the field. I didn't even know about the field. But the Lord was just bringing people to help me kind of choose this, or, you know, help me learn about this career.
Right.
And so then I entered CBU with, you know, declaring that I would be that major, because they had that major, and I didn't even know they did. And so
Oh, that's
the Lord was so
awesome.
good, and I was like, thank you, you know. And so my grandpa and my great grandmother really were the people that I had in mind when I realized, like, this would be my career, because I wanted to help those who, to help people specifically who were in that population, you know, because speech pathologists that work in hospitals, they do facilitate those with Alzheimer's, and they facilitate people who have swallowing disorders or strokes. They help them kind of work their muscles in their mouth and their throat. They kind of help them with their speech again if that part of their brain has been affected, you know. And it's just so interesting how our brains, our ears, our eyes, our mouth, they all have to do with communication.
Yeah.
And so when one of those are, you know, are not quote unquote normal, you know, it's, you know, it becomes disability for them. But we help them kind of get through it and say, look, this is not a disability. It's just something you have to go through, and, you know, and kind of get them through it. So
it's amazing.
Yeah, and exactly. I mean, I fell in love with the career, because I just loved how it's. I know people say it's rewarding, and it is, but I just love how you can just, you know, look into someone's eyes and just say, you know, I want to help you, and this is how we're going to help you. And so that is kind of, and I owe it to them, my loved ones, you know. Because they both went through similar things, and I, you know, I remember my first day in my communication disorders intro class, 101, you know, and the teachers would say, like, you know, she would talk about it, and I was like, oh my gosh, I understand, because I was that family member, even though I wasn't the person it affected, I was the family member, and something that stuck with me was, you know, when you become a speech pathologist, you're not only a therapist for the person you're treating, but you're a therapist for the family as well.
Right.
And isn't that so cool how it's the same way with Christianity, you know, you're not impacting one person when you know, pour into them and disciple them. They will go on and share it to their family, and it will, you know, and the Lord will kind of use them to bless others, and, you know, so forth. So it's just thinking about how, like, now I'm, like, talking about it out loud. It's so funny how God gave me, you know, these things. He gave me, like, a tool belt, and I didn't know how to use any of the tools, but as I started getting older, he kind of showed me, okay, this is for this. This is for this. And now I'm still learning what most of my tool belts are in my tool belt, but he's, you know, giving me more understanding, more depth into what I'm supposed to do, and I'm like, whoa, God, that is like awesome. So yeah, that's that, I would say, long answer for your question, but my family members are the ones that really made me who I am, and in the sense of that. So
that's cool.
That's beautiful.
Yeah,
it really is.
You know, actually, the first time I I met you was when I was in junior high. I met you through your brother Joey. We were both at worship practice for drums, and that's when I met you, and I learned that you played guitar and you sang, and that was really cool to see. You know, just a sibling pair that was doing worship. You know,
Yeah.
so I know you've been doing worship for a while now. Uh, could you maybe tell us how many years you've been doing it, and how long? Well, how long have you been serving, and what led you to enter into the ministry?
Yeah, I'd love to. So in elementary school, I started singing. Um, I really loved to sing. My parents saw I had that desire since I was very young, and so in elementary school, they had a choir, and I couldn't be a part of the choir until third grade. So I remember dying to be a third grader. I'm like, come on! And so then I know that sounds so cheesy, but
That's true.
No,
That's
it's totally.
true. I remember kind of like
Yeah.
a similar thing when a kid me wanted to play an instrument. Like, oh, you have to be a certain age.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's totally fine.
But that was me, the choir nerd, and since third grade, I guess since recently, but from third grade till college, I've always been in choir, and I just loved it. I got to sing with other people. In this, I went to Harvest Christian school, so there's the church, but they also have the school, the elementary school, and so it was a blessing because the choir director, Kathy Spurry was her name, and she was such a blessing to me, and she just took me under her wing, and she taught me how to just to use what I had, for the Lord. She was and that's where that seed was planted, I think, for ministry. And I just remember her always telling me, like, use your gifts for the Lord, and I just kind of, as I got older, fourth grade, fifth grade, sixth grade, just kind of remembered her and what she would tell me. And sixth grade came around, and that was kind of a sad year because I'd be moving towards middle school, and I know she would help me with so many things, and in that time frame alone, because middle school is crazy.
Yeah, no, that's true.
I remember her telling me, she's like, Bianca, I really want you to learn how to play guitar. She said, I really sense that the Lord's going to use you one day. And as a sixth grader, you're like, oh, cool. Your brain is just kind of like, it's like childlike faith, but also kind of like, I don't understand what you're saying, but awesome,
Yeah.
So I was so excited, and I remember her telling me, just how she wanted me to learn. She says, a girl who sings should know how to play guitar.
Oh, wow.
And that was the coolest thing. I've never heard of that. But I was, blessed. I was like, oh, awesome. And so that's kind of where I started, learning how to play guitar. The first guitar chord I ever learned was in E minor, and I remember playing, I was like, this is hard. And then, I would learn a couple more chords, and I'd go back every week. And she was for the school part of Harvest. She was the choir director, but for the church, she was actually their kind of like Bob. She was like their Bob.
Yeah.
Oh,
For those who don't know Bob is the coolest guy ever.
Yeah,
His brother in the
definitely.
Lord is the coolest. He what he does is he takes I believe it's fourth or third graders that are wanting to serve, and he trains them in exactly what Bianca's saying. He trains them to play chords and songs, and then throws them into children's ministry. And
Yes.
so
Yeah, exactly. And so she was kind of the female version of Bob, for those that are listening. So she was really awesome. And she would kind of oversee the worship ministry for kids, for children's.
Oh.
At our Harvest. So that was really cool. I was like, whoa. And yeah, she eventually would give me kid songs, like the ones that we would do for our church, at CCCV. And which was really cool, because she'd be like, okay, now you're going to learn jump into the light.
Oh, yeah.
And then, that was a bop, by the way.
That was a
And-
bop. It was a true bop.
Yep.
or Jesus loves me, or
Mm.
I've got a river of life. All the Father Abraham, all these like fundamental songs, man.
Yeah.
And I've learned, and she's like, why don't you get plugged into your church?
Mm.
And about this time, I was 7th grade, 8th grade. It was around that time. And so I was okay, I will. So prayed about it, and I started. Then that's where I started the worship ministry.
That's rad.
So recapping, because I feel like I talk a lot.
No, you're good.
2009
You're good.
Is when I started playing guitar. So since 2009 till now, I feel like if I can do math correctly, it's like 11 years playing guitar.
That's
wow.
That's a lot of years.
That's pretty nice.
That's a lot. That's a lot more than I am. That I have.
And I'm not like good. I need to like get better. I need to make more time for guitar. But I'm grateful that I've been able to at least play for that long. So super blessed. But and then around middle school time, which honestly I don't remember, 2010/11, I think. I was in middle school. That's when I started doing worship for children's, and then I actually started doing worship for junior high. And that's because I met Jared there, and Jared is our overseer for worship, actually for the sanctuary.
Yes.
Which is super awesome. So, but he had started there too in junior high, and so when I started going to, I don't even remember what it was called back then, but. But to our, youth group for
Chosen? Was it Chosen
Yeah,
junior
it
high?
was Chosen.
Okay, I think so. I don't know if it changed but I guess maybe not, right? I don't know. But
With Joe McTarsney, right? Pastor Joe.
Yeah, Pastor Joe.
Yes, that was a while ago.
It was awesome.
Wow.
Awesome time.
It was awesome. What a great mentor to be under too. He was really fun.
Yes.
But yeah, I was under Jared for a bit because he saw that I had an interest, so he would say, "Hey, do you want to sing with me?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, yes please." And so that's kind of how I got started with junior high. And
That's rad.
when he moved on to the sanctuary, I kind of stayed in junior high and branched out to high school. And that's when I also was like, bye children. So I was like, bye children.
Yo. It's the worst feeling ever.
It is.
And then when I was in, so I was leading high schoolers when I was in high school. So that was kind of a trip. And
That's
that
rad.
was challenging in itself too. Because, you're going through the same things they're going through, but,
Right.
it's like, what do I do? What do I say? And so I stayed in high school, junior high for a few more years. And then when I was a junior in high school, Jared had reached out again and had asked me if I wanted to help him lead worship for, what day was it? It was a special event. Oh, it was New Year's. It was New Year's Eve.
It was New Year's Eve service?
It was.
Right.
And he had asked, like, hey, I'm leading this worship set and for this night, and would you like to serve with us? And I was so ecstatic. I was like, whoa. And I was like, yes, please. And so, since then I've been leading, I had more opportunities to serve in the sanctuary, and then I eventually just kind of stayed in the sanctuary, and I still do high school, but not very much. Unfortunately, I got more busy with work and with college, and so
Right.
I just kind of stayed focused on sanctuary. But whenever they need someone, I kind of fill in. But it's been such a journey in itself, and I loved it.
That's
So,
cool.
yeah, that's kind of the journey of me playing guitar and singing, and how it started at when I was in elementary, and how the Lord kind of used it for
Yeah.
where I am now.
That's awesome to have that mentor when you're young, to lead you to that direction. It's pretty rad. I know you do have a blog. You're not active in it as much, like everyday posting, but you do have a couple in there. And if you could tell us more about that.
Yes. It kind of just started. I think I don't remember if I mentioned it, but in high school, it was during that season of my life, I really started just to delve myself into poetry, and I loved it, and I just started writing because I know as a person, I tend to bottle things up and I don't like to share. I'm very personal. And I think the Lord kind of has been using my poetry kind of in the way of like, not all the time, but I feel like He's trying to make me more vulnerable, and it's hard, I feel like sometimes I want to be a clam and just kind of keep my thoughts to myself, but but I can't. As happy as I can be, I need to let the Lord, kind of use what He wants. So in all that, trying to explain, I was very closed off. I didn't like talking very much, and so I would just kind of write whatever I felt in a journal. And once that journal was filled, I'd keep writing and do another journal, and just things about relationships or feelings, and how I saw things from other people's perspectives, which was really fun. I love creative writing, and so that was kind of, I would throw that into that too. And so a lot of I know one piece that I've written in the blog was when my dad had surgery, and he had surgery in August of 2018. It was when so for those who don't know, my dad is a dialysis patient. He recently found out about a year or two ago now, or actually maybe more, but he had kidney failure. And so so that was around the time he needed to go and get surgery so they could put a port in his stomach, in the abdominal area, so that way when he does dialysis, it would just kind of be connected to that port in his belly area, and then that's how he would do it. So it was that day I had brought my laptop because the doctors were like, oh, you're going to be there for a good 12 hours or more, so just kind of make yourself comfortable. So I brought my laptop, and I just remember writing about what I had gone through, and just kind of like not knowing what was going to happen. And although you have faith, you're called to have faith in God and to really trust in Him in those bleak moments where you feel like what's going to happen, like it may not work out. And I kind of just wrote what I was feeling, and it was just kind of in case, like, it was almost like a last goodbye. And so in case something were to happen and I would never see him again. And so it was just those kind of things, and those experiences that I like to portray in my writing. And so I haven't, as Isaiah's mentioned, I know I don't post a lot, and actually I have been in a dry spell. I haven't really thought of much in the last couple of months, even though now is the perfect time. But I do just write from the heart, and whenever I think of something, I'm like, oh, this is cool. I post it, and I've been blessed by the amount of love I get from that, because I feel sometimes when you kind of reveal something that's personal to you, you either get rejected or your people around you will support you. You get support.
Right.
So I've been blessed by the support that I've received.
That's
and
awesome.
There's still sometimes where it's like, someone's like, yeah, that's weird, and I'm like, you know what? That's okay. This is something that this is what I've gone through, and that I'll just, continue forth with it. And so.
Right. Writing from the heart, Yeah. It's heavy.
And also, just seeing your writing, I just really admire your writing style, and just the way you go about telling those stories throughout your writings. So it's beautiful.
Thank you.
Really.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I'm blessed to hear that, and thank you for just kind of for reading them too. I know I had written one about flowers, the zinnias, and I don't remember the title.
Oh,
The Crate of Zinnias.
oh,
That was the title.
oh, yeah, that was one of my. Yeah, it's one of my favorites. It's actually pretty. It's pretty neat.
Oh my gosh, no way! Thank you.
Yeah.
And it's funny how that kind of came about. Um, but it was just kind of inspiration from something that I'd gone through. It was like I had met someone at a coffee shop and we were talking, and then it didn't go as planned, which was okay. It was just us getting to know each other's friends and things like that. And then it kind of just kind of made into like little details I can sprinkle into the story, and the story just kind of came from I don't know. I guess it was around October, and I was going in the shopping areas, like at the farmer market in Chino, and I saw like a crate of zinnias, and I was like, I should write something about that. And I didn't even go back to it until, months later. But yeah, it was really fun.
Yeah, especially the ending of that poem really got to me. I'm like, oh.
Thank you.
That's pretty awesome that you got that inspiration, you know? I love it. I love it.
It's really rad.
So much. I'm so glad that you guys have read it too. So thank you. I appreciate it so much.
For sure. Well, Bianca, it's been great talking with you, hearing your heart and what you've accomplished, and just, having faith, steadfast faith in God. And you can see it throughout, what you said. So definitely, Bianca has an Instagram. That's what I have out right now. It's at Bia_Danielle, right? Bia_Danielle_. And then that's where you can find on her bio her link to her WordPress, which is her blog. And so, yeah, sweet. So thank you, Bianca.
Thank you so much, you guys, for
thank you.
allowing me to share a little bit about myself. I really enjoyed this opportunity, and for you guys just to love, just seeing other people and just to talk about like what the Lord's done with them. It's awesome. You guys are so cool.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah, I love what you're doing. Keep it up.
Thank you.
Thank you.